So it is 17 minutes past 2, and we are about to watch the finale in about 13 minutes. And you may be able to hear, subtly in the background, Mr. DaCosta is here. Ooh. We will be reporting back whenever one of us is gloating. If it's Axel, neither of us are gloating, and Michelle will be. Have fun. It is 3:33, and we've just found out that Logan was right. Do you want to say something as winner?
Can you say that last part of what you just said again?
No.
Are you sure? Because I liked hearing those words.
I'm sure you do. First round pick. Again. And I'm depressed. This is the worst day ever.
Yeah, I had fun. It's still fun. It's the adventure, Michael. It's not the outcome.
True. This was a fun season.
Well, he had Elisabet from the first pick.
Yes.
So
Did you have her as the first pick?
No, she was not my first pick. She stayed under the radar for the first 6, 7, 8 days for me. And the first time I thought, there's something wrong about her. Because she was always along in the group, and she's a small, cute girl. And you think, she's funny, and she walks along, and she goes along, and she does her tests. And then nobody thought about her. Yeah? And the moment I thought about her was the boat. The escape room on the boat. That morning we went swimming in the sea after breakfast, and there Bruno, he said, I can dive, I swim a lot, and she came into the water and she barely moved. She was like, oh, the water and it's dirty and this and that. So afterwards, when she was put on the boat instead of in the water, I said,
that's suspicious.
That Bruno goes in the boat? Yes, because you don't want him into the water because he can swim and he can dive, and you don't want him in the water as a mole. Yeah. But you also want, you want Elisabet in the water because she cannot swim. She will drown or whatever, and she will not bring in any money. So that was for me very suspicious. And from that moment on, I started to keeping an eye on her, and I never left her out of my sight anymore.
Who was on your list beforehand?
It was Joeri was one of my suspicious people.
King of the Regenpipe.
Yeah, King of the Regenpipe. Kaat was very suspicious too, and Eva also. Yeah, so those three were first on my radar before her. Yeah.
When do you switch from going split ticket on the quizzes to just all on Elisabet?
After the wanneer was dat nu alweer dat ik tegen u zei? I told him I put everything on the same person. 7. As from 7, I put everything on her. Until then, I still put 1 or 2 on Kaat and because she went out very late also. So I kept on spreading between her and Kaat, and then from 7 I said all along everything for the.
Kaat was my pick.
Yeah.
I was devastated when she went home.
But she's such a lovely girl. She's such a great person and a very happy and always shiny girl. And
So she'd be a good mole though. You never.
Yeah, but maybe she was a little bit too young to do it, to take the responsibility to do something like that. And maybe she also is maybe too fanatic sometimes, and then it's difficult to calm somebody like her down to say now you have to lose instead of winning. That's not into her nature.
You can't remember all the questions. He never makes any notes whatsoever.
And how do you know each other then?
Through the podcast. So we've done the podcast for 5.5 years now. Met through The Amazing Race. And then we've covered that since then.
Okay.
And then I met up with him when I went to Vancouver.
Oh, you're from Vancouver?
Yeah, near Vancouver. Yeah.
Oh,
So I went
my
to
dream destination.
And then met up with him, and he's travelling the world at the moment.
I've been started in Japan, then made my way south to Australia, and then South Africa.
And then you said the mall in Belgium. I have to be there to eat some French fries and some chocolate.
Waffles.
Well, we talked to Gilles on the podcast last year.
Yeah.
He said it's a bit too close for us to come this year, but if you want to come next year, let me know. And obviously he said yes, very yes.
Cool. And you don't what. You have to interview me maybe, but I also want to know from you guys. Voilà. You like the Belgian mall? You saw the Dutch mall, I guess, also.
Yeah, I went to the Dutch finale this year actually. I was in the crowd in
And on the market there in Amsterdam.
Yeah, but he lives very close to where the UK mall was cancelled in 2001. So I was joking he got that cancelled.
They cancelled it.
Yes.
It's strange that it's a big success worldwide, but that in some countries they have less episodes or less seasons than in others. Yeah. Belgium, of course, is where it all was started. So, and the good thing I think about Belgium is that they started 20 years ago. They did some seasons, and then they stopped to keep the mystery about the mole alive in Belgium. In Holland, on the contrary, they have it every year, and it starts to be a little bit too everybody gets used to it. Here in Belgium, everybody's the mole is there again. Is excited. Yeah. Half of Belgium is watching it, in matter of speaking, and it gives the mystery. And you have Gilles de Coster, of course, who is a great host. He has I cannot tell you what it does with your body when he's sitting in front of you and during an elimination, and he looks at you, Axel. So shall I start with you? And then you see him typing, and then the regard he has is in his eyes. What do you see? The look he has is in his eyes. That goes through your body, through your bones, goes everywhere, and then you get the green screen, and then. Oh, that's wonderful.
How long is that pause until that green screen appears?
Like you see on television.
Really,
so it can take up to 7-8 seconds, I have the impression, once in a while. Yeah? It depends a little bit on how quick they want to eliminate somebody or not. They want to get rid of somebody, but no, it takes 7-8 seconds, I think. And those moments, and on top of that, the music that's playing, then his eyes, and the tension. That's an amazing. Yeah, that's nuts. That's a crazy feeling, but a feeling that I love actually, because it's not something you experience every day. Such a tension, and to get it once in a while during this season for me was an honor to get the green screen.
Do you usually stare at Gilles after he types a name, or are you looking straight at that screen?
I looked at the screen and I kept on looking at the screen. Really, all the time. Because if you start looking at him, you start to... No. Yeah, you get nervous.
It's like look Medusa. At it's like you're going to turn to stone.
Yeah. So it's such an amazing feeling, you cannot imagine. Yeah, you have to experience it to believe it.
Was there one particular elimination that really hurt? See someone go home?
Yeah, well, the first one was very Elisabet was very hard for me, because it was a person after people have sometimes difficulties to believe that how is it possible that after 3 days you have such a feeling for somebody or feeling with somebody, but it is, you are there together. She told her private life about her husband she lost. She threw some ashes at the hotel we stayed into the water, and I was there with her, and it was so emotional that. And on top of that, nobody would ever believe that Elisabet would go out. No, she had the mole capacities, but she also had the capacities for a great candidate. And she went out, and it was, oh man. And there I go again with my hands, which I do every elimination. Yeah. And the second one was, of course, Martijn. It was a little bit from the beginning, from the moment we stood up on the thing there for the bungee jump. From there, some bromance was created, and it was very hard for me. Those 3-4 days after he left, I had very difficult time, also in the group, because it felt a little bit like they blamed me for his exit, while it was not the case, and I missed him because he was the one I could really trust. In Mol, you can never trust anybody, but Martijn really trusted me. I trusted him, and to see him go I had to pick myself together really after he left.
Was there ever any chance of you doing the first jump?
Never. Never, ever. Never, ever.
Even if the 34,000 euros was on the line?
Not even then. Not even. I'm too scared to. No, I'm too scared. That's really simple.
The irony of a pilot who doesn't want to fly.
Yeah, well, there is a big difference, of course, between fear of heights and fear of flying. And fear of flying, I don't have, luckily, of course. But a lot of pilots I speak to, who spoke to me after the bungee jump, said I wouldn't do it neither. So it's not something that has to do with the flying or with the heights. It has to do really with it has to do with the heights, but it's also the fear of the heights and not the fear of.
And also doing it from a crane in Vietnam.
From a crane in Vietnam, but no, well, you can say a crane from Vietnam because obviously I asked about that, but those were guys from Belgium. They were sent over only for that test, or for that exercise, or for that challenge, to Vietnam. So I also think that that the production thought by themselves, we're not going to let that do by a Vietnamese company. We fly people over, that's safer.
Yeah, the first time I went to Vietnam, I was walking through Ho Chi Minh City.
Yeah.
Walking under the electric wires, and you just hear them rattling.
Oh, it's amazing! It's crazy. But that's everywhere in Asia. It's a wonderful continent, but they have still a long way to go before they are a little bit like we are used to the Western.
It's a great opener, though.
Yeah, it was a wonderful opener, and on top of that, the mole was not chosen. So that's. Hey, you get the first. Well, I told the guy before, you get a slap a little bit in your face 3 weeks before you leave, because they say, yeah, we didn't choose you as a mole, but as a candidate. So you say, oh, damn it, I'm very happy to go, but still, I wanted to do it.
Did you stop juggling right after that then?
Yeah, well, I never tried even. Yeah, I tried, but it's not into my capacities to do that. But you get a little bit of slap in your face, and then you come there, you arrive there in Vietnam, and you hear there is no mole. We still have to choose the mole, and you say, oh, you get all excited. Okay, it will happen. Maybe it will be me. Eh? And then, bam, up, another slap in your face. So it's emotionally and psychologically, it's a hard nut to crack, as I can say. Or you don't say that in English?
No, we do.
Hard nut to crack. Okay.
Yeah, I'm not sure how I would feel if I was told, oh, you might be the mole, and then, oh, you're not, and then you might be, and then you.
Well, I cannot tell you, of course, who the two other screens were, but nevertheless, for those people, it was extra hard, of course, and they left because there was only one person in the final. There was Elisabet, who had a maybe screen. So the others ones left during the season. So for them it's extra hard. You're so close to being the main item of the show, and then you go home, and then you get confronted to that. So it's psychologically hard, difficult.
How much fun was it to hide under a Vietnamese table?
Well, you haven't seen me. Look, I'm 2 meters, eh? So it was I was quite happy with the nevertheless with that exercise, because the other exercises I wouldn't have done not as good as I did this one. It was funny, and on top of that, those people sitting there, those very decent Vietnamese couple, that very decent Vietnamese couple sitting there and looking at me like, what is he doing? What are you doing? I knew, of course, then that I wouldn't get the election of the most decent candidate, but the money was that moment for me more important, and and we didn't know it really that it was going to be how do you call a vrijstelling in English?
Yeah, well,
how do you call a vrijstelling?
Exemption.
So
I think we do say vrijstelling.
Vrijstelling, pasvraag.
Yeah, pasvraag.
It's the fact that we watch Vietnam as well. It's just ingrained in us to go vrijstelling.
Yeah, wonderful, very
so
cool.
many uses around the street.
Yeah, wonderful.
Yeah, that challenge is my favourite.
Is it? Yeah.
It's so funny. It's just, we always like the challenges where it's just 10 minutes of absolute character stuff, and it's just hilarious.
It was hilarious, and it was well thought about also, that exercise. And for me it was maybe not the most the nicest challenge of all. For me it was the Kuchi tunnels. But this year was such a good mix of fun, humor, all those different characters we had, because we were 10 very different characters, and then some very challenging stuff also, like the Kuchi tunnels or the bungee jump or whatever. So it was a very nice mix this year, and that made this year so strong, I think.
The tunnels looked horrific.
It's horrific. I mean, with my 2 meters going in there, on top of that, on the morning they tried. There's some people from the people of the production. They tested it. There's also a guy of 2 meters, and he got stuck in the where you have to go from one tunnel to the other, the lower one. He got stuck, and they asked themselves, "Are we going to tell Axel that this happened?" They didn't, luckily, because otherwise I don't know if I would have done it. But that was so I was so anxious. It was so narrow.
I was shaking watching that challenge. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you very much for coming, for flying over, and for broadcasting it like this in Canada and the UK. Keep on doing it.
Well, we will. Don't worry about that.
Yeah. Sorry. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Is it in English? Yes. But how do people then watch the series? You put subtitles on it?
There's a very nice lady called Natalia who does the subtitles and gets it up the next day.
Oh.
So then, we watch it, we podcast it, and then it gets released.
Oh, I should have known that.
Yeah.
I could have showed it to my friends who don't speak Dutch.
Yeah, there's a very big online community for English subtitles, which is nice.
Oh,
for us.
nice. Okay.
Obviously, it opens up the show to a whole new community.
Yeah, indeed. Very large community then.
Yeah, it shocked Gilles when because Logan tweeted him the premiere recap last year, and he went, "Oh my God, there's people in Canada listening to me. What the hell?"
What are Canadians watching them all?
And you came all the way from Canada today?
Yeah, I'm from Canada, then Michael's from England. Yeah.
Okay.
I've been backpacking around the world the past few months. It wasn't just to come
Come
here.
immediately from
Okay.
Athens.
Oh, wow.
It's 5 months, is it now?
Yeah, I started off in Japan, Southeast Asia, South Africa, and then here.
Nice one. Wow.
And then teaching English on the side, aren't you?
Yeah.
I work, but unlike him. And then I came over for the Dutch finale to Amsterdam.
Ah, okay. In the Vondelpark.
Yeah,
no?
yeah. I stood for 5 hours to be in the finale audience and was wrong. But it was so much fun. I was shattered afterwards.
And were you right tonight?
He was, I wasn't.
Yeah, he thought it was you.
You thought it was me? Okay. But you thought it was Elisabet?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
We did a draft this year, so picked 2 teams and split everyone up. He picked Elisabet number 1. So he was onto her from the very
beginning.
First episode, yeah.
Why? How did you see it? Because even my fellow players didn't know it was Elisabet.
It just seemed like she would be able to get away with the sabotages, and she kept putting herself in these key roles where it felt like she could guide too many bathroom breaks and a lot of challenges at inopportune times too.
Nice.
When were you onto her from?
Sorry?
When did you start suspecting her?
You remember the moment that I was like in the cell?
Yeah.
She came to free me from the cell, and her behavior was so awkward. It was like Joeri got away. I got away with the lie that I created at Joeri's side, but not with Elisabet. And she was like, her behavior was so suspicious. It was like as if she knew something more, and also as if she didn't want me to have like the I don't know the word in English. Vrijstelling?
Exemption.
Exemption. Voilà.
We do say vrijstelling on the podcast.
It's the one word I know.
It's our homage to both Dutch and Belgian.
And that moment I was like, there's something weird with her behavior, and I started thinking, and I then looked back, and I remember that when I was about to bungee jump, she was the one next to me who was encouraging me to jump. She said, "Go, let's do it. It's a once in a lifetime opportunity. You just should jump." And then later on, I realized that she was not encouraging people anymore. She was discouraging people, saying how dangerous it was, what could happen, what could go wrong. And then I looked back at the mission on the boat, in which she had a crucial position in the boat. But I was thinking, if you are the mole, you would throw her in the water, right? Because she wouldn't survive very long in the water. She would immediately blow her jacket and get out of it. So that was the moment in the cell I was like, maybe we were too fast not to see her as the mole. And then, later on I was like gathering evidence that she was it. Yeah.
Who did you suspect beforehand?
Actually, even before there was a mole, I already thought I knew it. I thought I knew it. It was Eva.
Yeah.
Because her behavior was a bit awkward. She was always smiling, but not telling everything. You felt that she was hiding something. Then later on, I was thinking about cats. That would that was it. I think Joeri, Kat, Eva, and then Elisabet.
Everyone was on Joeri. I don't think either of us ever suspected Joeri.
I was on him the first elimination, because in the tochts, in the first promenade we had to do with the heavy ball. He was really like a lonely rider. He was like deciding what to do, and he was not deciding in group. I thought that he had too much impact on the group. But then later on, after after our Vovinam exercise, I knew that he was just a good guy that wanted to go for.
How cool was that? That was, I think, the coolest thing I've ever seen.
That was so cool. Yeah, that was so cool. Certainly because we had the day before we were in the temple. The sun was shining. It was a very peaceful setting. View on the mountains. We woke up in that temple, and then having the opportunity to have 7 Vietnamese kids and youngsters kicking you the whole time. That was really cool.
How distracting was it to see Bruno getting the shit kicked out of him like his children?
Well, Bruno was behind me, so I didn't really see him. But poor guy. I saw him. Yeah. It was really, really hard for him.
I was going to bring my nephews and nieces if he was around today.
But they kicked really hard because I remembered I had one rib that was blue for 10 days. Yeah, it was really hard.
That and the dinner challenge, which is
the
just
dinner
one of
challenge
my
was
favourite
my cup of tea. I love it.
I disagree. I don't think it was your cup of tea.
What?
I don't think it was your cup of tea. Well,
disagreeing.
Okay. because I didn't do it well, or
no, he's just channeling your challenge.
Oh yes, okay, now I get it. Yeah.
He was doing this to me during the podcast.
I loved it, but when people started doing their challenge, I was not aware yet of what my challenge was.
Yeah.
So I was like, why are they going to the toilet? It's so impolite. And I wanted to stay like the most polite guest at the table. I was like a bit embarrassed about my colleagues. Everybody went to the toilet, and then Joeri started doing his regenpipe thing. I was like, what is happening? We were not briefed about anything. So that was crazy, but really cool.
And then trying to get Elisabet to sing about regenpipes.
Yeah. And then Kat with her song, I was like, oh my god, the song in Dutch is ridiculous. It's a ridiculous song. And she got away with it. And then Elisabet with her very bizarre speech while drinking so much.
must be some really good drugs in the toilet being
Yeah. What it is.
What strain is this?
Yeah.
This season was so good.
You liked it more than the other ones?
Yeah.
Yeah?
I mean, we always love Belgian Mole anyway, but this season was really, really good. It was really fun for us to watch.
It was really outstanding as candidates to do the different missions too. It was really nice.
Did it feel odd to be told you might be the mole, then 3 weeks beforehand not the mole, then maybe again?
Roller coaster. First you're so happy, like what? And then you're gonna disappointed. No, I'm not. Yeah. Then there's a maybe screen. You don't have the maybe screen. So it was a very emotional day. To be honest, a very bizarre day too. We came from the flight, immediately bungee jumped. Then I saw like, why is everybody juggling with those balls so easily? I was like, that could only have been me and somebody else because you don't ask everybody to be the mole. So that was really bizarre. But yeah.
I'm assuming you would have wanted to do it if Gilles had sat you down and said, we actually want you to do it.
Yeah, I would have. But to be very honest, playing the game, I think that after 3 days for me it was quite clear that being the mole is nothing for me.
Yeah.
It's way too
Stressful.
solitary. You're alone in a group. As a contestant, you kind of, or as a candidate, it's already difficult to trust other people. Being the mole, it's like the other level. I'm happy that I was a candidate.
Was it not stressful being sat there with Gilles staring you going, fast?
I was the last one that had to go to Gilles, so it was like a cozy little chat. Yeah. I wasn't stressed anymore. No.
And then at all the executions with him just glaring at you going, what's that you're naming?
Oh yeah. That one, yeah. I don't think I'm the best liar of the group.
Yeah.
I think you can see that here and there. Yeah, but nice experience. Yeah.
Ever thought about playing Old Maid? You know, what was
Old Maid.
The card game? Are you going to take that up professionally?
I would not. And if I would do it, I would advise you not to put money on my game because no, I'm not such a good poker player. No.
How lucky did you feel pulling that exemption card straight up?
I was so relieved. I knew that because if I didn't have it, somebody else would have it, and then my chances was 1 on 2 that I would get kicked out of the game. So the moment that Axel pulled the cards and it was the wrong one, I wanted to yell yes, but you had to stay very calm.
You had to test your bad lying skills.
Yeah. And he was a bit, yeah, of course they're a bit mad, and of course, yeah, there's some tension, but yeah, he took it really well later on. Yeah. And Joeri too, yeah. I saw him yesterday and he was okay with it. Yeah.
Did you go straight ticket on Elisabet from the challenge with your exemption the first time, or did you?
No. I kept on spreading it until I think that the only time that I really put 100% of my questions on Elisabet was the finale, because before the finale I had an exemption, and before that one I think I still spread it with Axel.
Yeah, just in case.
I think so, yeah. I don't remember it quite well anymore.
Yeah.
But I'm always doubting it. That's my personality. Even when I'm sure, I'm a bit doubting.
Yeah, you're always a bit skeptical.
Yeah.
Which makes you great for the mole.
It saved my ass in the series, because everybody was so sure that Elisabet was not. Like sometimes in the group you would like say who's certainly not it, who could be it, and then if somebody said who's certainly not it, everybody would say Elisabet. She's not able to do it. And because I was so critical and like reconsidering my opinion, I started doubting about her as not being the mole. So yeah.
How much in the finale is it trying to throw off Axel to you thinking the mole could be you? Was there a lot of mind games between you two in the final round?
When we were still 3 in the game, Elisabet never ever stopped playing her role in such an extent that 2 hours before the finale I started doubting again. I was like, oh my god, because she was like a bit more open, and she told me that she was really sure that it wasn't me, but that it wasn't Axel. And I was like, oh, what if I completely got it wrong, and everybody else too, and the only ones who know what's going on is Axel and Elisabet. So I was doubting again, but then
you just didn't want to be that person who got 0 in the final test.
Yeah. So I said, no. You were sure of your decision yesterday. You're going for her, and then in the end, I put all my questions on Elisabet. Yeah.
Did it come down to time then, or was it?
No, it did. It was come down to time.
Oh,
yeah.
Where we were.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Bas.
You're welcome.
Nice to meet you.
Yeah, I think we got a natural conclusion.
Yeah.
Yeah?
So, diary of the mole finale, episode 3, I guess. 7 minutes past 5. And we had to run away because we've spoken to Axel and Bas and Gilles, but not Elisabet. And that's not helpful. So she's currently doing TV interviews behind us, and we're going to hopefully try and corner her in a minute. Hopefully see you soon.
So, do you hate women?
Do I hate women?
After the jokes we've been making on the podcast.
No.
I mean, there was 3 men at the end of the final 4.
No problem.
How did it feel when you got told you were going to be the mole?
Yeah, it was such an amazing feeling. There are a lot of things going through my mind. I was so happy, I was so proud, but also I felt the enormously pressure that was on my shoulder, because unprepared doing this role was more than hard. It was so difficult. I can tell you that.
I guess it's harder for you than any other mole, because you had no prep time.
No, I had no prep time, and they showed a lot of information of the mole throughout the episodes. They showed my diary, and they also showed where the moment I was briefed on the beach. So it was very difficult for me, and it's easier for the watchers.
It's just, I can't fathom what it was like when you got the maybe spoon and you had to go to the stage.
Yeah.
And then you spoke to Gilles and you were like, we want you to do it. It must be so nerve-wracking.
It was very nerve-wracking, but at the moment in the circle I was thinking maybe everybody has a maybe screen. So maybe it's just a test, so I'm going to act like I have a no screen, and I'm going to act disappointed. So I did it. It was good.
So you didn't practice juggling again right away?
I was able to juggle, but when we started when we started and I saw everybody juggle, I was like, something's off here. It's not normal.
Something's not right.
No, something's not right.
And then you go from, oh, we might want you to be the mole, to we don't want you to be the mole, to you are the mole.
Yes, a roller coaster of emotions. When they called me 3 weeks before to say I wasn't the mole, but I was just a normal candidate, I was disappointed, of course, but I was also a little bit relieved because it was only 3 weeks to be prepared, and I was like, oh, it's difficult in 3 weeks, and now it was no preparation at all. So
Yeah, you're having to find bones near toilets and stuff.
yeah,
Having to do a proper like treasure hunt every time.
yeah. It was so difficult because the scene on the beach where I was briefed in front of everybody, I woke up and I was like, it was a party the day before, and I was like, I totally forgot my briefing. I don't know what to do. And then the setup was, and I saw Gilles, and I was like, yeah, it's happening. I don't know. And then, yeah, it was obvious that my briefing was on the beach. So nerve-wracking.
So relieved.
How hard did you go for the try to find the phone at Final Four with the trolley?
I did my best, but
Baz was quicker.
Baz was quicker than Axel.
yeah. But in the end, it was maybe better that I didn't got the cell phone because it became very difficult to do the sabotage when you have the briefing. Because at that point we were with 4, and the questions, it was 3-1 always. So I could not sabotage there. Only with the card game.
I guess that challenge would have been hard to sabotage anyway.
Yeah.
Because
of course.
it's luck.
It's luck.
Unless you can influence.
But with the card game,
Yeah.
Bas took my
Vrijstelling or exemption.
yes.
It's the one word I know in Flemish.
Vrijstelling, and that was my sabotage that I said to everybody, he's got the vrijstelling, so that everybody would pick that and not the money. So that was
That makes sense.
yeah. Otherwise I would just stay quiet. It was a normal candidate, but
I suppose it was doubly hard for you as well because your husband came out. You couldn't tell him, obviously.
No.
He had to do the test. Completely not on you.
no.
And then you had like to just not let anything slip.
No, it was so lovely to see my husband and to see a familiar face, but I was not able to be myself at the moment. I had to lie also, but I told him and he didn't believe me, so they put that in the in the show.
I was.
Did you sabotage his delayed flight?
Did I sabotage what? Oh, no. It was luckily that he could be there at the right time because
Because of the typhoon.
yeah, it was abnormal the weather back then.
I was saying to Gilles earlier, you very nearly ran into me because I was in Vietnam not long before you were.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So I was so annoyed when I found out it was Vietnam. I'm like,
Oh yeah, I can imagine. I can imagine. Yeah.
oh, that was so annoying.
I don't remember the questions we had. Oh yeah, well, do you have another speech prepared about Reagan pipes or a song about Reagan pipes?
No, I don't know why. Joeri told me to sing Regenpipe because I did not know
The tasks.
the task of the other candidates. I only knew my task to sabotage a speech, which I was like, I'm gonna drink a lot, so it's not obvious.
Did you deliberately sabotage the speech, or was it just whichever one you pulled out was the one you were going to sabotage?
No, I just pulled, and it was a speech. And then I was like, okay, I'm going to drink, and then it's not so obvious that I can't speak. But I really can't speak.
Yeah. So it was a lucky one for you to get.
It was a lucky one for me to get, yeah.
Was there like a really big? Did you have any like close calls or slip-ups where you regret like, oh, they probably suspect me because of?
No, and I think that the viewer at home may think that with the building of the towers, I was so obvious, but in real time, nobody saw that, me doing that. It was just like, oh, she's so so happy. So.
Everyone was distracted by Joeri and his chopstick skills.
Yes.
Which were
But everybody was busy with their own towers, so they did not notice. That is something that was not obvious in real time. I executed my role as mole till the end, so Bas still doubted who was the mole.
He said to us that he wasn't sure the morning.
No, he wasn't sure till the end, and yesterday we shoot at a reunion, and 5 out of 10 were completely wrong, so I'm a little bit amazed by that. So
So they were all shocked.
yeah, they were really shocked because until episode 4 or 5, nobody thought it was me. Nobody.
Well, I have to give props. He picked you round one. You must have been so smug at home seeing.
Yeah,
that,
but round one, I was a little bit angry because they showed me to do the things that nobody else saw. They got it like I was delaying the very much, but in real time, nobody saw that. So
it's so much different when like viewers are watching at home trying to pick out like if I was
course.
production, if I was the mole, how would it be? And then if you're there, you're probably so focused on tasks or even throwing other people off if you're one
yeah,
of
of
the
course,
contestants.
of course.
That's our time, annoyingly.
So, this is entry number 4 of the Diary of the Mole finale. And, yeah, we have just spoken to all 3. We spoke to Elisabet. I asked her whether she hates women, and she was very confused. One thing I haven't mentioned is that we did have a little sit-down chat with Gilles. We haven't recorded that because, you know, it was a bit of a sort of impromptu thing. But, yeah, we have spoken to the final 3. We've spoken to Gilles. He's seen my mole book, and that isn't a euphemism. And it is about 6:13 right now, and we are going to go watch the finale and pretend we haven't seen it in a minute. So, yeah, this is fun, and weirdly, Baz, after speaking to us, has now spoken to the rest of the cast, and they seem to be aware of our existence. So that's fun. And also, Ingrid knocked over a tree. Speak soon. So, Diary of a Mole finale, number 5. It is 7:15. We are currently awaiting our call to go over to the screen for the second airing of our mole finale tonight. And turns out we are going to be in a Belgian newspaper tomorrow. This is insane. And everyone seems to know who we are. We've just met the very nice people from the Trust Nobody podcast, who also cover the Dutch and Belgian moles. And yeah, this is kind of a very surreal, weird situation for us, I guess. Logan was right annoyingly, so I'm going to get to eat a bit of humble pie when we record the recap tonight. And yeah, we've had 3 different sets of photos with Gilles, which is really quite cool. And I will sign off by admitting something that Logan's probably going to mention in the podcast tonight. I broke a bamboo chair. See you soon. Tot-ziens. Oh yeah, and one final thing, we're going to the after party, so yeah, this is going to be fun. So, it is 1:21 PM. This is the final entry of the Diary of a Mole finale, and I'm feeling very tired. It's the afternoon after the night before. I'm currently on a train to Schiphol, so by the time you hear this, I'll actually be at Schiphol. I'm aiming to actually post this then, as soon as everything else is done. Last night was so much fun. I mean, I feel a bit tired this morning. I can only imagine how Saunders feels, because he had alcohol and I didn't. And he left my hotel room at 3 o'clock. We recorded like 2 o'clock yesterday morning. This is a weird experience. So, thank you to everyone at SBS and Fear and all the other press people and everyone involved. Because yesterday was the coolest, weirdest day, I think, ever. At least for a long while. And I still kind of don't know how to feel, even though it's 24 hours since we got to Kinepolis. But I just want to specifically thank like Gilles and Lise and everyone who kind of took a chance on us being at the finale, because they didn't have to invite us. We were kind of assuming we were just going to be at the finale airing and not actually having to be there till like 6, 7 o'clock. And we had an all-day thing. The press team were just wonderful. All the contestants were. I mean, shout out to the final 3 as well, because Axel and Elisabet, especially, even at the after party, they came up to us and were like, "Oh my god, we love that you guys are here and coming over from different countries." And I know I'm rambling here, so this is probably going to be a very fun podcast for you guys to listen to, because I know the audio is a bit shit, but I couldn't do any better, annoyingly. We will be back on Thursday for our normal recap. I will warn you now, it's a little bit incoherent, given it was recorded from like 3 minutes to 2 in the morning, and Logan had had a few bevies. So, strap in. We tried to remember as many stories as we possibly could. If we forget a story, we'll bring it up on the reunion recap. But yeah, this is the
the Bamboo Chair Breaker, signing off, and we will see you Thursday. See you later.